going to be New York City Department of Social Service, Homeless Services, the Borough Director Yuri Sanchez, which is going to be followed by the Sheriff's Department. So Yuri Sanchez, can you come forward? Welcome.
Thank you. Good evening, all.
Good evening.
Thank you so much for having us here today. I'm Yuri Sanchez. I am the board director at the New York City Department of Social Services, which is the umbrella agency for HRA, the Human Resources Administration, and the Department of Homeless Services, DHS. I'm also joined by my Deputy Commissioner, Jamar Hooks, and our colleagues at NICA, and Assistant Commissioner John Hammond from DHS. So 2 weeks ago, we notified on a population change at the Velvet Hotel, which has been an existing shelter site, right? For many years, we have been at this location. And I'd like to make a slight correction to the agenda. So it will be 200 single adult women to be placed at the site. Previously, it was families with children, and these folks have moved on to permanent housing. The site is currently vacant, and I would like to turn it over to NICA to do a brief presentation on the site. New York City Department of Homeless Services has partnered with NICA for over a decade, actually 14 years. They're a really strong provider, and we're happy to be in partnership with them at the Velvet Hotel. So I'll
What's
turn
the
it over.
location?
268/272 Williams Ave. I'll turn it over to Stanley De La Cruz.
I need someone to click the slides. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for welcoming us to the community board meeting. My name is Stanley De La Cruz, Director of Public Relations and Community Affairs at the Neighborhood Association for Intercultural Affairs. As stated, thank you very much. I'm joined today by my colleagues, Angie Gonzalez, Executive Director of Transitional Housing Programs for NICA, and Latifa Moore, who is the Site Director for the Velvet Hotel. Also joining us, Alejandra Rivera, who's the Regional Director, Edwin Santiago, who is the Director of Operations and Security for the site, and Gil from A&H Security, our security vendor for the site. NICA was founded in 1974. Essentially, after the Bronx burnings, a group of community leaders came together to form this organization and provide social services to the community, mostly centered around housing. For the past 51 years, we have expanded to a very robust social service organization. We operate transitional housing programs throughout the city of New York, except Staten Island. We also have an immigration resource program, a legal eviction prevention program, and we have a couple programs on the way, starting in July, a LGBTQ youth resource program as well. Next slide, please. Our mission is to provide culturally and linguistically client-centered housing, legal, and social support services, and to promote self-efficacy and improve the quality of life for individuals and families across New York City. I'm just going to move over here. It'll be a little easier.
Thank you. That's good.
How's that?
That's good.
So NICA operates multiple transitional housing sites throughout the city. These sites serve single adult men, single adult women, and families, all referred by the Department of Homeless Services. The Velvet Hotel, as mentioned, has been a shelter site for a while, but NICA has been operating it since 2022. It's 200 beds, and as mentioned, it is transitioning to single adult women, and it's currently unoccupied since we moved out all the families to permanent housing. The services provided at the site are 24/7 on-site support staff and security, case management with the goal of succeeding in their individual service plans, mental health and medical referrals, job readiness and vocational training, housing placement assistance, and crisis intervention and conflict resolution. Some of the security protocols at the site. There's entry and access control 24/7. There's only one point of entry. You have to present your ID, sign in. It's not accessible to the public, only to the clients and those authorized under DHS regulation. In the facility, there's regular room checks, screening, housing meetings, and probably the most critical thing is a good neighbor policy that we have all clients acknowledge and that we enforce. The facility itself has 72 cameras, an alarm system, lighting, perimeter checks, et cetera, to ensure that our clients are not loitering and ensure that they're being good neighbors. There's fire drills, evacuation protocols, et cetera, and all incidents reported per DHS protocols. Since the site has opened and been operated by NICA, it's essentially been incident-free, just minor internal, but nothing major in the community, thankfully. We'd like to keep it that way and continue in collaboration with all of you to ensure that we're able to house the most vulnerable in our community and continue to lead them on a path to a sustainable future. Our good neighbor policy, they are to conduct themselves respectfully in and about the shelter and essentially avoid loitering, panhandling, substance use, violence, etc. And violations of that policy can result in a transfer or suspension of shelter services. We do make every effort to avoid that, but that is a repercussion to violating that policy. So that's a very brief introduction to us. My email is on the screen, sdelacruz@nicany.org, and you should go to our website. We are always hiring, even at the Velvet site itself. So would look forward to seeing those resumes come in and open to any questions. Madam Chair?
You have question? Brother Paul, you have a question?
And we're going to pass the mic. But just to clarify, I'm going to answer questions about the site and NICA, and Yuri is going to handle any questions to DHS and Department of Social Services.
One of the concerns that we've had for years is that these shelter hotels, are they privately owned, the building?
The building is privately owned.
Right, and that building sits in what we call the IBZ zone, which is our industrial business zone, is that correct?
Yeah.
Yes, okay. So one of the problems that we've had is that under the fair share law that New York City had, where we were saturated, our communities are saturated with shelters, it was circumvented by the fact that you've taken these hotels and placed homeless people in them. Now, we all know we have a heart for that, but we should need our space also for business training and getting jobs here. Now, this is a continual process circumventing what we said. Fair share is a law. It's an act in New York State. We have too many shelters in our community now, which challenges our resources for the people here. See, you're talking about this, but you're circumventing the process that would protect us. We have shelters in the IBZ and outside, and you're coming under the guise of hotels, but you're also taking up space that we need for training our people in this community. So tell me, how am I supposed to support this when it doesn't support my community?
Thank you for that question. That's a more appropriate question for the DHS. We're not necessarily coming in. We've been present at the site for the past 3 years, and it's been a shelter site for many years before that. Yuri, do you want to address the question?
We hear you, and I totally do not disagree with you. I live in Community Board 3, so I hear you about, saturation and IBZ. We're taking notes. This is not new. I attended district service cabinet meetings, and yes, I've been fully made aware, from inception of my tenure at DHS, that this, community has a lot of shelters. We're faced with the challenge. This is a right to shelter city. We're morally and legally mandated to provide shelter. But I have taken note of what you mentioned about saturation, and we will be taking that back to senior leadership.
Wait, I'm going to bring the mic because I want it to be captured on our YouTube page.
We have no problem. We are the people with heart because we look like the people in those shelters. But the problem is we're saturated and our resources. I'm on the board of East New York Gotham Health right there. See, what happens with these shelter populations is not counted in our population. We don't get reimbursed for that population. They're not counted in the census. They're transient. So if I get all these shelters here and they're using all the resources we're not compensated. See, it takes from what we have here. So either you got to compensate us for it so we can take care of these people, or you have to share the load someplace else. You're violating the law. Fair share, so you can't do it, but you keep on circumventing the law. That's the problem.
So my name is Jamar Hooks. I'm Deputy Commissioner for Intergovernmental and Legislative Affairs at the Department of Social Services. And so one of the things that we're doing is siting shelters across the city. So in terms of fair share, we're trying to put shelters in every single neighborhood where there are homeless people. And just to be clear, many of the people that will be in this shelter will be from this community. And so there's a need to house people in the community where they're from, and we build shelters, or we put stand-up shelters in communities to ensure that folks have a place to stay while they transition back into the community.
I'm going to pass the mic. Deron, I'm going to ask you after you speak. Could you please pass it around? Thank you very much.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. I hear what you guys saying, but I'm the type of person that likes to keep it real. You're saying that these shelters are going to be for the people that live in East New York, right? 3 quick questions, and I hope you can answer it all at one time. Do you guys do your research? Do you guys do your research? And again, do you guys do your research? These shelters that you guys are putting in East New York, ain't no tea, ain't no shade to no other community board, 3, wherever you guys are coming from. No other area in the 5 boroughs have more shelters than East New York. So, the question, do you do your research? Do you do your research? And why is East New York the target for shelters?
Yeah, so this site is not a new site. This site has existed for years. We've converted it, as Yuri said, we converted it from families with children to single adults, but this shelter has been in this community for many years.
Hello, I'm Suzanne. I'm sorry. This is kind of really upsetting to me, and I love your presentation, but I live in an area where I cannot walk from one side of the street to the next without stepping over people from this homeless shelter. I don't have a problem with housing people, but can you take care of the people who are already in the shelters, in the areas where they are right now, get them off the street, get them from urinating and defecating in the sidewalk, stop them from going from house to house and taking things out of our yards, stop them from, living peacefully among us before adding more. So if we already have so many, and as you said, they're from the neighborhood, then deal with the situation that we have right now, because the shelter system as it exists right now is not helping them and it's not helping us.
Yeah,
right? Before adding any more.
Yeah, thank you for that question. I think what's important is that a lot of the shelters are run by different operators. We take special precaution to ensure that there's no loitering outside of our shelter, as the address was mentioned before. So I'm not sure, again, we're one organization. Yeah.
Hi, thank you so much. I'm happy to have, take your information and figure out which of the shelter sites that the complaints pertain to, right? Ms. Perkins always let me know when she gets complaints, or the elected official's office. We have good neighbor policies for all of our shelter sites. For street homeless individuals, we have Birkin Ground, who does 24/7, 365 outreach. And, we make every effort to bring these folks in. We do not want them to disrupt the neighborhood. So I'll speak with you after to get which shelter location so we can address it promptly.
Good evening.
Okay,
So one
if
of the
I could add just
questions-
one thing, we should also be flagging, Yuri's going to give you her card at the end of this meeting. You should make sure that we're flagging for Yuri these incidents that are occurring in your neighborhood, but also please flag to the community board, and the community board is in constant contact with the agency, and we'll make sure that the quality of life issues are addressed to the degree possible.
Good evening, everybody. So the question was asked, how do we help bring back in the resources that the shelters are taking away from a community that's already in disparity, right? On the corner of Van Sicklen and New Locks, then the corner of Miller and New Locks, and then on the corner of, if I'm correct, was it New Locks and almost Ashford? That's 3 shelters within walking distance, right? For the last 3 years, I've fed women from those shelters because they're not getting the meals they need inside. Their resources are being taken. And we do talk about it with our community board. I'm a member of our community board who also feeds the women that you're saying you're giving shelter to in our community. So again, we hear what you're saying. You guys have a job. I would love it if you guys would come out. I want to see your faces outside to see what it is we're speaking of, because it's overcrowded, right? And some of these women have been here for more than 3 years, and they're not from this community. They were brought into this community by the system that started in the Bronx, and they've yet still been here 3 years. So while we're saying we're giving housing, right, is how much is that happening when we have 3 shelters in walking distance with members that have been there for more than 3 years? Just a question.
Hello, everyone. My name is Joseph Velasquez. I live on Ridgewood between Norwood and Hale. I have a problem for many years with homeless situation. I've been complaining about it since Raphael was in office. The major camp of the homeless is on Atlantic and the Conduit on the overpass. They hang out there, sleep there, and they're coming from the shelter on the Conduit and I believe Pine. So on Liberty and the Conduit and Atlantic, they always throw their trash there almost every year. You guys always got to clean it up with sanitation, and this is becoming a big problem. So one of the centers I go to, 276 Chestnut, right across the street on Atlantic, is always filled up with garbage every year with the homeless. So I was wondering, can you get them out of that location? They travel down Fulton and Norwood to Jamaica and Hale to Highland Park. This is the foot traffic from one area to the other area that I see them all the time. So I was wondering, when you guys come out or give me a call, I have no problems walking with you guys, pointing the finger at them, because this is the locations that do need help. And I've been doing this for a long time. Thank you.
Oh, no, just want to ask them, what year was that shelter built?
Is this in the business industrial district where the trucks and drivers are? And now we're going to have another problem with prostitution and ladies walking up and down? I mean, we are tired of all of this. Everything that another community doesn't want, they bring it into East New York. The area over there was supposed to be for the business industrial, is the business industrial zone. And we're looking for jobs, permanent housing, and what we're getting is temporary housing for people that can't find where they want to live. Where's the mental care that's coming from that they need? Where's the health care that they need? There's so many things that are missing that we're not able to get answers for. And this is not just now. This has been going on in East New York from day one. And I've been here a long time, and I've seen the good, the bad, and really some of the ugliest things you want to see in East New York. But East New York is a very good community. If you live in East New York, you don't have a problem with transportation. You can go from the Belt Parkway to the Interborough, from Atlantic Avenue, Linden Boulevard, and we saw that many years ago. That's why the Business Industrial Zone was created. The East New York Development Corporation, I was the CEO at one point. We pulled it together, trying to get business into our area so we can get jobs. Our people need to work, and we're not lazy people. I am so tired of people telling us what we can't do. Every time we take one step up, you bring us back another step. Whether it's the housing, whether it's the food that's coming into our community, whether it's this legalizing weed. Do you know what weed is for? It's to take the pain away from people who are ill, and they made it illegal for that. And they're giving it to our young children. Their brains are not developed yet. And this is the answer to what happened many years ago with the cocaine and the drugs. History is repeating itself, and we need to rise up. We need to march again, do whatever it is that we need to do to get our community right. I am tired. I told Ms. Lohman, I am tired of seeing our community going the way it's going. And so many good things here. We have the park, we have the playgrounds, we have all of these things. And soon as we start making things better, we always get somebody looking at it and dumping something in our community. We're tired of this dumping. And they told us we were going to have jobs. Where are the jobs? And then when you do the construction jobs, how long do they last? They tell us we're going to hire 30 people. They hire them. They hire 50. They can hire 100. But how long do they keep them? After 2 paychecks, they're gone. And you go and visit some of the construction sites. We need to do our homework, and we need to look at our community from a different light. That's right. This is a good community, hardworking people here, and we need better. We don't need any more shelters. Where were the women before they got into the shelters? Something is wrong with the system, and the government needs to fix it. If they can't fix it, don't dump it on us. Dump it in some other communities. Let everybody feel some of the pain. This is just too much.
What's going on? Hi, so my name is Kelly Pierre. I'm a co-chair for the Economic Development IBZ and BIDS. So one of the primary concerns that has been coming from the IBZ is the issue of homelessness, right? And because of this, there are several businesses that have even threatened to leave East New York and the IBZ area, right? So in terms of really trying to contain, because there are encampments that, like do form. They've, held like different like cleanups as well, but it's a recurring problem. So you guys really have to do a much better job in terms of containing, because it becomes a safety issue for the businesses as well as their staff, and it could really hurt, East New York on the economic level, and it's a threat that's real, and several businesses are threatening to leave. So I hope you guys know that.
Thank you. We appreciate your comments.
Yeah. So my fault. So, and if you're gonna respond, could you just give me what is the plan?
So I represent the agency on the East New York IBZ task force, along with my colleagues at DHS.
So you're aware?
Can I speak, please?
All right, cool, go ahead.
At Breaking Ground, and there's constant work. There's been a lot of improvements, right? It's not going to happen overnight, but we're available. The outreach teams has increased outreach in the district, and it's a work in progress. We're aware of the situation, and we're constantly working. As I said before, Breaking Ground is available 24/7, 365 to respond to street homeless individuals. And if there's an encampment, you can call 311, right? Or use the app to notify us. It's pretty easy. And it's a collaborative effort with DHS, sanitation, and NYPD. And we will work to schedule a constant cleanup of the location and offer services to those individuals. And you can, again, contact your community board to report encampments and street homeless persons. It'll get to us.
Good evening. I'm Odessa Finn, community board member. I just had a question about the change in the demographic that you're going to be serving. So you're moving from serving families to serving single women, correct?
Yes, families have transitioned to permanent housing, so now we will be placing single adult women.
The shelter has been here for some time, you're saying.
Correct.
So I'm just curious about the change in demographic. What was the impetus for?
So our capacity needs change, right? Which leads to population changes at various sites.
In English. I didn't quite get what it means.
So sometimes there's more of a need for men's shelters. Sometimes there's a need for more women's shelters or families with children shelters. At the present moment, we have a need for this single adult women's shelter. So capacity fluctuates and the need changes based on who comes into intake.
Did he answer your question?
The intake is in the Bronx for families with children. So the way it works is if a family is distressed, they're falling on hard times, they have to go to one of the intake centers. If it's a family, they go to the Bronx. The Bronx places them according to their youngest child's school. So if the youngest child is going to school in East New York, they'll likely be placed back in East New York. Or they're placed where the capacity is available. So if there's a shelter in the Bronx where there's capacity at, they're placed in the Bronx. So it's many of the people who are coming from East New York are from East New York. Who are in the shelters are from East New York. Others are from different parts of the city, but they go to an intake center. There's single adult intakes, there's families with children, there's adult family intake, and then they're assessed and placed according to their needs. No, doesn't guarantee that they're from the community.
So that's what I was going to ask. Where are you getting the women from? And we have a lot of women in our community that is homeless, that's in the shelters, that have lost their apartments. How are you going to assure us that your shelter is not going to be for people that's in Bronx, Staten Island, New Rochelle? How could y'all assure us that it's not going to be for outside of the 5 boroughs? What can you do to make sure that the people that live in the zip codes 11207, 11208, 11239, that they are the first ones to go into this facility? Because we're oversaturated with shelters. We don't need any more shelters. Not women's shelter, not family shelter, not men's shelters. Give some to Staten Island. Give some to Bensonhurst. Give some to Bay Ridge. When you say that you're giving shelters all over, that's not true. It's not true. East New York is the dumping ground because you make a lot of money out here. Please, please, please consider the people that live here. Don't displace them. Keep them in their neighborhood. Do something with DHS, the city of New York, the mayor's office, whomever you have to talk to make it right. Please make sure that we are taken care of first because you're in our neighborhood.
Thank you, Chairwoman Alice Lohman. And I just wanted to say one thing. I did do the research while we were here in Bensonhurst. Like she said, Bensonhurst, Bay Ridge, they have zero shelters. East New York, Brownsville, Bed-Stuy, we have close to 50. It's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer. I know it's not y'all directly. Y'all just doing your job. But please give the message to the people. We don't need no more shelters here. That's it.
No more shelters in East New York. No more shelters in East New York. No more shelters in East New York. That's a message to the mayor, to anybody who want to come here by private property to put shelters. We don't need no more. And also, go to our YouTube page, CB5, that's ENY. CB5, that's ENY. And see how we fight for the people of East New York. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Please stay in contact with the district office, Ms. Perkins. And please think about everything we said. One mic, one mic, one mic. Please think about everything that was said. Do your homework. I think Mr. Linson said, research, research, research. Please, please, please. Thank you. And we're not beating you up. I know you're the messengers, but take the message back. All right? Thank you.
Thank you. And just one last pitch, if I may. My email again, sdelacruz@nicany.org. We understand the concerns. We are still operating the shelter, and if you would like to partner to provide services to these clients, we're very open to collaborate with everyone. Skills training, etc., we would welcome that. So please contact me. We'd love to collaborate with you.
Thank you. Thank you. Last but not least, we thank